Hi, this is Sue Greenwald with the Empowered Light Holistic Expo. Our next expo is coming up next weekend, April 26th or 28th at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center in Oaks, Pennsylvania. And I'm here with Charles, who's going to be talking about pyramid energy. And he'll have some pyramids for you to look at, and he'll be talking about that in a special talk on Saturday morning at 10:30. Hey, Charlie, how are you?
I'm doing great, Sue. How about you?
Good. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with pyramids? Introduce yourself a
I
little
sure
bit.
can. To be specific, I got started about 3 years ago. I was listening to David Wilcock's wisdom teaching series on Gaia TV, and he did a 10-part series on the Russian pyramid research. And it was absolutely intriguing. I was a biology major in college, so I was fascinated more with the science than almost anything else. And when I heard about all of the amazing scientific research results that the Russians had achieved with these pyramids, I decided I wanted to find one for myself. And what I found out very quickly was that no one was making these, and that's kind of how I got started. It took me a long time to get a product ready to put onto the market, but I started in earnest about a year ago, put my website up, and one thing has led to another.
Excellent. So what is it that you put together? Like, what is it that you do?
Okay, first of all, the title of my company is Only PVC Pyramids. So I put together meditation and healing pyramids for individuals to use in their home. The reason why it's made out of PVC pipe is due to the fact that the Russian research indicates that non-metallic materials such as PVC pipe, wood, fiberglass are really the best, what's called in the business, not passive torsion generators. In other words, those materials produce the life force energy better than any other materials that the Russians tested. And there's a second aspect to the Russian pyramids, which is significant, which we can discuss a little bit more in a minute, but that's the geometry of these pyramids. And that is a large part of what I'm going to be talking about at the Expo next week. The geometry of these pyramids has largely been withheld from the West. And what I'm going to be talking about is how I discovered what I believe is the sacred geometry of these pyramids and why that geometry is so important in achieving the higher dimensions that we can get in both health effects and also in our meditation practice.
Right. So were you interested in pyramids before you saw that series and started working with them?
I truly was not as intrigued with pyramids per se as I was with energy fields in general.
Ah,
I started out actually about 5 years ago selling vortex water machines, and that kind of got me into another field of tensor rings, EMF remediations. You can see a constant theme here, which is the energy fields that we are fundamental to our life and well-being,
right.
and how those energy fields can be impacted both positively and negatively by our outside external influences.
Right. And if I understand correctly, the Russian pyramids have a steeper angle than some of these, say the Egyptian style pyramids, which are, what are they,
That's
52 or
that's right.
54
They're
degrees?
much steeper angles, and from a practical standpoint for meditators, this makes it a whole lot easier to actually meditate inside one of these pyramids than it does for others, simply because they take up much less floor space in your home. But that's not the real reason to use them. The reason to use them is because they're the most scientifically researched pyramid geometry on the planet.
Right. And I know that they've had amazing results with the Russian pyramids, that they've put certain things, seeds in the pyramid. I think they put salt in the pyramid. They put, building materials in the pyramids. And when let's say that they grow the seeds, the plant is substantially larger than a plant from regular seeds, that sort of thing.
That's absolutely right. We've done a variety of research projects, the kinds of things that we can reproduce on our own without expensive clinical equipment. But certainly one of the things that we've done to validate the Russian research, we've grown plants in a controlled environment with the same soils and identical planters, with one with a pyramid and one without. And the plants grew at least twice as large as the ones in the control group. So we've done a variety of we've tested these energy fields in a variety of different ways as well. And suffice it to say, all of the research that we have been able to perform has been in perfect alignment with the Russian research.
And one of the stories that I have read about is that they use salt that they stored in the Russian pyramid or building materials, and then they use them in prisons. They let the prisoners have the salt in their table, the table salt, and they use the building materials in the prisons, and the violence rate went down to virtually zero. And yet they're not, like you said, they're not disclosing that information to most people.
Well, that's exactly right. I've done a 20-part series on my YouTube channel, Only PVC Pyramids, where I've outlined all of the research that was done by the Russians. And what you bring out, I think, is particularly profound. I know in my own experience, ever since I put the pyramid into my bedroom and began meditating under it, that I've become a lot more peaceful. It's also resulted in a very, very tremendous weight loss for me. I've lost about 80 pounds over the last 2 years.
Sold.
Without trying. Nothing else really changed. And I'm going to suggest that perhaps what happened, people who know me know that, I'm a lot more at peace than I was before. And I believe it's due to probably at a physical level, a reduction in my cortisol levels, which have resulted in the ability to drop the weight.
Yes. As you know, we're all kept in a very high state of stress. We've got technology in our face, blinking at us every second. If you watch, let's say, a sports program on TV, you've got trailers along the bottom, you've got logos, you've got things blinking at you all the time. And subconsciously, that just puts us in a huge state of stress, along with everything that's going on in our society. And it sounds like what you're saying is if you meditate in the pyramid, you will see a greater and even faster healing and calming effect from the energy of the pyramid.
That's absolutely correct. And just to add one other thought to that, my manifestations are occurring so much more rapidly since I began using the pyramid, and also more specifically, ever since I was able to determine the sacred geometry of these pyramids and make some minor adjustments to them, the ability to manifest those things that I asked for has just increased exponentially.
Excellent. So you'll be talking about that sacred geometry and the energy of the pyramids in your talk Saturday morning at 10:30. Is that correct?
That's right. I'm going to be talking it was a journey to figure this all out, and it all involves an understanding of the torsion physics research that was done at roughly the same time as Dr. Gull began building these pyramids. And it all has to do with the geometry of the phi spiral. And I'll be getting into some more esoteric aspects of what's called the phi scaling angle and how that relates to the creative process and how it relates exactly to the geometry of these pyramids.
I am most excited to hear your presentation, and I hope that I'll be able to attend. I often say that I'm going to, and then I get called out, but I'm very interested in pyramids myself. I'm friends with Dr. Sam. I don't know if you know who he is, but he discovered the Bosnian
I
pyramid.
certainly know of him.
Yeah,
I have not had a chance to meet him.
oh, he's an amazing person, and he's brilliant. He's talked at 3 of the expos that I've held, and I went with a small group to Bosnia last March, and we experienced the pyramid. We toured every site. He explained the scientific and historic aspect of the pyramids, but most importantly, we got to experience them. So we went in the tunnels under the pyramids, which he is funding the excavation of himself. And we got to meditate there ourselves. And I went back several times. But what we did is we did an energetic, he has this little device where you can measure your energy, your chakras, to see how you're balanced and how open you are and blah, blah, blah. And so we got a vision of where we were at that moment. We went into the pyramid for an hour and a half the very first time, and every single one of us had improved substantially. And then he showed us in one of his presentations several video testimonials of people that had incurable or, horrific diseases of whatever they were. And they would come and meditate in or on the pyramid for, like, let's just say a week, and also drink pyramid water. And every one of them had amazing, healing and cures. So we felt that ourselves. So I know firsthand that what you're saying is true. Now, I haven't been in one of your pyramids, but it's so exciting, and it's something that's so so easy to have in your home. We all should have that.
Well, that's right. Dr. Ibrahim Karim, who was the inventor of a field of study called biogeometry, has said exactly that same thing, that there should be a pyramid in every home. The energy field improvement is just phenomenal and has so many far-reaching effects, both physical and emotional, that I have to totally agree with that. I might also say that now that we figured the geometry of these pyramids out to the best of our ability and enhanced them in that way, we've begun the process of looking at other enhancements to the energy fields on these pyramids. And one thing that we began doing, and I'll be demonstrating this next week, is putting highly crystalline sand into the tubes of the pyramids. I was actually at an expo just last week in North Carolina where I showed this for the first time, and there was unanimous agreement that the crystalline sand has had a dramatic improvement in the energy fields on these pyramids. So I'm going to look forward to getting the commentary from the folks there at the Expo to see what they think as well.
I think they're going to be very excited, and I think there'll also be some other speakers that will be very interested in your work. I know that, I don't know if you know who Brad Johnson is, but he channels Adronis, and Adronis has done several videos about Atlantis and about the pyramids and other sacred sites, so I'm sure he'll be interested in speaking with you, and you'll be right around the corner from his booth.
Oh, fantastic.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
Well, and one other thing about the geometry that I might mention, and I will talk about this in my speech, there are some fascinating coincidences in the geometry between the Giza pyramid and the Russian pyramid. So I don't know the answers to all of these questions. I feel like I'm just rediscovering both the research that's been done in Russia and also the wisdom of the ancients. But it's fascinating to see these geometric patterns emerge in a sort of unity amongst all of the pyramid types.
Right. I recently did go to Egypt myself with Dr. Sam. He was the leader of the tour. So we got to tour Egypt from a scientific, historic, spiritual, archaeologist viewpoint. It was the most fabulous time. I've always wanted to go, and I thought, why not go with Dr. Sam, who really knows what the truth really is. And it was very interesting, but I was, let's just say, disappointed. My heart was very sad because the pyramids have been purposefully, I don't even know what the word is, they've been corrupted. All right, so the energy is just not there the way it's supposed to be, and I just felt sad. And I felt sad for the people in that area. They're really, really suffering. They're depending on tourism, and it was quite a interesting culture shock as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to going myself. I have not had a chance to go to any of the pyramids, but as you are doing, I'm looking into the possibility of going both to Egypt and to Bosnia in the near future because I want to experience that firsthand myself.
Yeah. I have a group going to Bosnia this June. And we have a private tour set up with Dr. Sam himself of the whole area. And having done it before, it's just amazing. And you will have access to him all week. And he welcomes any scientific tests that you might like to do. He welcomes sharing information.
Well, I'll definitely want to check that out with you after the video.
Yeah, and he's also doing another trip to Egypt next December, 2019. I will say, number one, I love him as a person and I love what he's done. But he's not just, like, we did have an Egyptian guide with us, and it's not just about learning what they say happened, that they are burial temples, you know, for the pharaohs or whatever, tombs. It's learning about what they say has happened, but what has really happened, and what's you know, how we can scientifically prove that that's not the truth. And then of course we will do spiritual work there as well. But like I said, it's all been hidden from the general population. It's been corrupted, and those powers that be know much more than they've let on, you know. So
well, I've certainly in my research had experiences that mirror that. When I try to find research, even finding, for example, Dr. Golad's website, pyramids.ru, is a very, very difficult challenge with an American search engine. And finding a lot of the original research that was done in Russia has been a challenge as well. But we persevere and we move on, and we find the information wherever we can.
Well, I'm very excited that you offer the PVC pyramids, because when we were in Bosnia, our group, we all were excited to make our own meditation pyramids, blah, blah, blah. We were going to make them, and we were going to actually package them for sale. And of course, we came home and did nothing. And, you know, it's like a project that, you know, for the average person to figure that out, it just takes a little bit of time. So I'm glad that you've taken that out of the equation and you have that available for us.
Well, and so the other thing that I'm trying to do, you know, to let your audience know, I was an investment banker for many years, and that taught me something. I made a lot of money and lost my soul doing that. So everything that I sell, all of the information that I get on the geometry, I'm open sourcing. If you want to build your own pyramid, I'm happy to sell you just the connectors. You can go out and buy your own pipe. You can fill your own pyramids with sand if you want to. We try to make it as inexpensive as possible for the do-it-yourselfer and give people all the information that they can possibly use to make their own pyramids. But of course, the thing that helps to keep me going and the research as well is those who like to buy the pyramids, you know, from me, and we'll we always try to keep those as reasonably priced as possible.
And I think what I like also that I'm hearing, you have a logical, like you have a financial background. So you sound like you're a researcher to me. So for you to be in tune with this pyramid energy and the sacred geo energy, and put, you know, really to develop your business around that means that there is some credence to it.
Well, I would not have gotten started in this field if there had not been substantial scientific research that had been done by credible scientists. And for those in the audience, I mean, to reiterate, the Russian government expended public funds for, and continues to do so, to find the health and public welfare benefits of these pyramids for the people in Russia. Something that I must say I have not found in the United States. But knowing that this scientific research had been done and conclusively demonstrated these benefits was really what got me started in the first place. Right. And I'm a pretty persistent person. And once I got started, I guess I'm on a mission now to get this information and these benefits out to the public.
Excellent. Well, I am really very excited that you'll be coming to the expo, and you'll have a booth there answering questions the whole weekend. You'll have a pyramid or two on display there as well, and ordering information. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And we will be offering for those attending a special coupon code, which will allow all attendees from the expo to receive a discount on the purchase of their booth.
Excellent, excellent. And then you'll be doing a talk Saturday at 10:30 on the energy of the pyramids and the sacred geometry. And I'm assuming that the attendee will learn how that would benefit them.
That's right. That's right. The first step in all of this is to try to give people a basic understanding of the fact that this is true science. This is not woo-woo or mysticism. There's logical science that goes into the building, the construction, the building materials of a pyramid, and that each pyramid can have its own unique function, design, and therefore usefulness. But yes, we're going to do that, and then we're going to go over a summary of the Russian pyramid research as it relates to agriculture, certainly personal health benefits, environmental benefits, as well as material science.
Excellent, excellent. I wanted to just throw in one other thing. When I grew up, it was during the time of the Cold War. And we discounted anything that was not really American. So any other country, including Russia, whatever they said or did was not valid in any way. So a lot of times I'll hear Russian scientists, and my first thought is like, oh, well, they're not American. They're not good. But they are, they're much more open than we are over here. As far
well,
as
they certainly are. And,
yeah.
and they seem to be willing to go into some of these more esoteric fields that are shunned in the United States for whatever reason.
Right.
Obviously, the energy fields that we're talking about here, the torsion fields, the scalar fields, whatever you want to call them, are fields that have dramatic implications for energy, for health throughout the planet. And they are really at the forefront. But what's fascinating to me also, Sue, is the fact that there's really two countries in the world that are really at the forefront of contemporary pyramid technology and use. And one of which, of course, is Russia, and the other is India. So, the Russians come at this from their scientific left brain aspect, and the people from India are coming more from the Vedic traditions, right. Which are thousands of years old, and yet the two complement each other in such a profound way because they're all based upon the same fundamental truths.
Yeah. Whenever I talk about, say, any other pyramid, the Bosnian pyramids or whatever, people are like, they're shocked that there are pyramids outside of Egypt, and they can't even comprehend that there's pyramids around the globe, in every country. Even in the U.S., right? And they don't understand that. Right? Right. So a lot of the pyramids are not, they're not in desert, and they're not excavated. They're buried by dirt and trees, sometimes on purpose. But there's lots of them that they're excavating. In fact, they just found a bunch of them down in Antarctica. There's quite a few down in South America that they've just located. And of course, our technology today allows us to know exactly where many of them are. Sometimes it's just getting to them.
That's
but
right.
It's very, very exciting that it's coming out.
Well, it is, and as you say, there are pyramids all over the world. It's fascinating that this kind of a technology would be so universally used throughout the planet, and yet that information has been
Right.
suppressed and withheld for such a long time, particularly as it relates to the pyramids in America, of
Right.
course, where we all
Right.
live. But they are here as well.
Right. It's very exciting. I'm very glad that you're bringing this to our expo, and I'm glad that you're doing a talk because I think it's much needed. People will get a chance to talk with you all weekend and learn about the health and healing benefits. But about like you said, that you're calmer, the stress is leaving your physical body. But really, what the implications of pyramids are about for our personal lives as well as our society. It's very exciting to me. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I look forward to the opportunity to speak with all of the people who are coming to the expo. I look forward to meeting each and every one of you, getting your feedback on our new pyramids and the energy fields that they create. And thank you so much, Sue, for having me on today.
Well, you're most welcome, and I'm very grateful that you had the time to do this video. And for those watching, you'll be able to see the pyramids at the end of the expo floor. Down, I think it's 334 might be the booth number.
334.
Wow, that was from memory. And Charles is talking Saturday morning at 10:30 on pyramids and sacred geometry, and you'll be able to watch the talk included with your general admission ticket, and then you can go to his booth, and I'm sure he's going to be answering questions all weekend long about the health and healing benefits of pyramids.
I'll answer every one that I can, but I'll also tell you when I don't have the answer.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of them that none of us have at this point. It's all a learning experience.
Yeah. And will you have a pyramid set up that people can sit in? Do you know if you'll be doing that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
Depending on the space that I've got available, I'll either have one or two up, but we'll have it set up in such a way that a lot of people. One of the wonderful aspects of these pyramids is that those of us, although I can sit on the floor yoga style, and I certainly have a size that will accommodate that, we do have sizes of pyramids, and we'll have those on display where you can actually sit in a chair and be fairly comfortable. For those of us who are getting a little older and maybe don't have quite the dexterity that we used to, I think you're going to find that it's really, really a wonderful way to meditate while seated under the pyramid, and you'll be able to try.
Excellent. I'm so grateful that you're coming to the expo, and I thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to meeting you next Friday.
All right. Thank you very much, Sue.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye-bye.